All right, time now to shift our focus a little bit onto the ANC's elective conference. The ANC Secretary General, Gwede Mantashe, has confirmed that a 7-member task team has been appointed to look into the impasse in the party's Eastern Cape's executive. The NEC meeting this past weekend did not disband the PEC, but would rather look into the appeal that's been lodged by members led by former chairperson Phumulo Masualle. Speaking exclusively on the SABC's special assignment, Mantashe also rubbished reports that there was an attempt to suspend him.
The Eastern Cape, because all the time we started with the Eastern Cape as a complaint and a concern. And we asked that question specifically in a meeting with the people who raised the concern. And in the last meeting in East London, they turned around and said, no, it's an appeal. Now, the decision of the NEC is that you don't put aside and push aside an appeal. That appeal must be heard properly, processed, and the recommendation must come to the NEC, and that is what is going to happen.
And to tell us about the task team, the members of the task team.
I won't tell you that until they are told.
Who? Until the task team members are told?
Until they are told, because we took a decision.
Until who's told?
The task team members. It is announced to the NEC, it is announced to the province itself, everybody is aware. Then I can go public on that.
And the court cases that are anticipated in the Eastern Cape, there are at least 2 court cases?
No, there are actually 4 that have gone past. So basically there is a lawyer in the Eastern Cape called Nokesi Mtata, who has no other professional work other than taking the case to court. We're expecting him to stay there because there's nothing to do.
Is there any reason with intervening in the Eastern Cape and ensuring that there aren't these court cases?
Our job is to unite ANC members. That is our responsibility. We have no responsibility to beg no case not to go to court. We can't. It's not our...
Is it an indication at all that the internal processes of the ANC are failing, and that's the reason why I see so many people going to court?
The only thing that you will always fail to acknowledge, Hamilton, is that every court case that has gone to court, any court case of the ANC, has not found irregularity, has not found fault with our processes. We get found guilty on something else. That's why if we're having 16 cases in court, we'll lose 1 case in case at end and win all the other 15 because processes are thorough and involved. But people now have changed from being members of the ANC for desire to serve. People want to be in the ANC because they see it as an opportunity to access resources, and therefore people behave very strangely. And therefore commitment and sacrifice is replaced by greed and desire to access resources.
Interesting that you should actually speak about that, the reason why some people join the ANC. If you look at this clip that we're going to play right now, it is from the former president, Thabo Mbeki, at the 52nd ANC's elective conference, where the former president, Thabo Mbeki, highlighted the need for the movement to maintain its character, to serve the interest of the people and not personal agendas.
We're gathered here to discharge our responsibilities as delegates from the branches of our organization, and I trust that we will do so sincerely and diligently, conscious of the historic obligation imposed on our movement to lead not only the membership of the ANC, but the entire South African nation. And in everything we do over the next few days, we should continue to sustain and demonstrate the understanding that characterizes all members of the movement, that the ANC was established 96 years ago to serve the people of South Africa and not our interests as members. Among other things, this means that when we close this 52nd National Conference, we must be able to report to the masses of our people that we've taken all the necessary decisions focused on the acceleration of our advance towards the achievement of the goal of a better life for all.
Well, 10 years after that comment from former President Thabo Mbeki, the issue still persists.
Yes. The reason that it persists is that a liberation movement working under conditions of illegality, you must remember that even discipline is a part of the security. And security of individual members in the organization is a priority. And that liberation movement ascends to power, it becomes a political party that is governing. When that happens, then people get into a new environment, they're in charge of big resources, and many of them get attracted and tempted by these resources that are in charge of. And that same movement has to adapt and appreciate that it is dealing with a total new environment and it must guide its membership differently. And that is the challenge we're having here. It's not new. You can go to any liberation movement, you'll find the same criticism.
Is it possible to eradicate it, though?
It is possible because it takes the individual. That's where it starts. I must appreciate that if I'm put in a department to run it, and there are lots and lots of resources, everything that is that department is not mine except what is paid to me. And there's a name, it's called a salary. And that is all that belongs to me. Everything else that I get out of that department, I am reducing the capacity of the state to serve. And once we begin to emphasize that and educate people to understand that, we can reduce it, but it will require us to be very harsh and hard. Chinese call it dealing with both tigers and flies.